Welcome to the Dream Philly podcast. I'm your host, Dreamcast, and we're going to jump right into things. We're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles as well as the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the ship is sinking. The ship is sinking. Nick Sirianni, hopefully you can hear me. When we talk about the issues with the Eagles, we have to start right at the top, and we have to talk about the ineffectiveness of Kevin Patullo. When you have a team where one of your players isn't performing, whether it's the quarterback, the running back, a receiver, a cornerback, after about one game, maybe two games, if they're not performing up to the level that you expect, you pull them out of the game and you sit them on the bench. And whoever is the number two receiver, number two quarterback, they go into the game. Well, it's time to sit Kevin Patullo down on the bench. We've had more than a sample size of the ineffectiveness, the blandness of his offensive play calling, and we are in a position now where our season can be in jeopardy. Just 2 weeks ago, we were the number one seed, and now we've dropped to the number three seed, and depending on what happens with this next game we have, when we go out and face the Chargers on Monday Night Football on the 8th of December, we may be looking at a situation where Dallas may end up winning our division. They're right behind us. We really can't afford any more losses. We need to win out. So as we look at the statistics, DeAndre Swift had 125 yards rushing. Kyle Monangai had 130 yards rushing. Our defense had a game that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting them to take care of business, but they had a good game plan for us, and we weren't able to counter it. Even though our defense didn't have their best game, still only 25 points given up. If our offense would have been able to show up, if Kevin Patullo would have showed up and put our athletes in a position to be successful, we still could have won the game. We did have Jake Elliott. He missed an extra point as well as a field goal. But late into the third quarter, the score was only 10-9. So we had an opportunity. And defense, they came up with a big, huge play where there was a tip ball intercepted. So, and we were in scoring position, 12-yard line. Tush push was called, which is becoming teams know we're going to go to the tush push. It was like no creativity. Could have did something different on that play. But they decided to go with the tush push. Had a Bears the defender, and Nashawn Wright, he was unaccounted for. Came right in our backyard as Jalen was still trying to push forward, stripped the ball out of his hand. And instead of us going up 16-10 on the ensuing possession, the Bears scored, and now we were down 17-9. And that was pretty much a backbreaker. We never fully recovered from that play. And it's just unfortunate that Kevin Patullo, having A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, elite receivers, two of the best receivers in the game, MVP Super Bowl quarterback in Jalen Hurts, and we're only scoring a measly 14 points. Unacceptable. So something needs to be done. The players deserve more. The fans deserve more, as well as the owner deserves more than what we've seen from the product offensively that's been placed on the field this year. And people have been pointing fingers at, well, what happened to Saquon? He looks like a shell of his former self. Jalen Hurts, what's going on with Jalen Hurts? So all the hatred, all the and it's from definitely from non-Eagles fans. They want to see us fail, and unfortunately, some of those non-Eagles fans are have positions, reporters, and people are just out here spewing stuff, but they really never had a like for the Eagles. So this is their opportunity to cheer when they see us down. You see a wounded dog, you're going to kick them when they're down. So this is their opportunity to do that. We have an opportunity to salvage the season, but some serious conversations need to be had and action needs to be taken. Nick Sirianni, he's pledged his allegiance to Kevin Patullo, but this is inexcusable. Something has to be done. Jeffrey Lurie, they had a shot of him in the press box, and he didn't look happy. All right, leadership has to step in because something has to change. So we'll see. We'll see. We will be out to face the Chargers and Monday Night Football, and this is definitely a must win. So hopefully they put our players in the best position to be successful. We turn our attention to the Sixers, but first, let's have a word from our sponsor. This segment is brought to you in part by H&K 215 Outfitters Melanin Collection. H&K 215 Outfitters is your go-to source for styles influenced by the latest fashion with added flair. They aim to inspire their customers to be the best version of themselves and to be confident in their own skin. And of course, their outfits. Visit H&K 215 Outfitters. And we're back. Our Philadelphia 76ers bounced back from a debilitating loss, a 40-point loss, and they went to Brooklyn, and they took care of business. It was a great team win. Andre Drummond out the gate in that first quarter, he looked exceptional, just grabbing rebounds, not only offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, blocking shots, scoring the ball, dunking the ball. And so he really got us started in a great direction. Unfortunately, he went down with a knee injury, so we'll have to see what the report is and see how long he's going to be out from that. We definitely don't need anybody else out with injuries. Man, it's been tough, just injuries after injuries. But they played with a lot of resilience. They played with a lot of fight. If we take a look at this statistics from the game, we shot 48.9% from the field. 3-point percentage was not good, but it didn't matter because during this game, our guards were driving to the basket. They weren't settling for jumpers, and that makes a difference. You always can be in a game if you're driving to the basket, you're getting to the basket, you're shooting high percentage shots, and that's what we did. And I feel like we need to continue to do that. We have guards that can get to the basket. We have Grimes, who can pretty much get to the basket anytime he wants. Tyrese Maxey, he can get to the basket anytime he wants. Those guys got to continue to attack the basket and not settle for the outside shot. We had 28 assists, 12 steals. We were active and did a great job with that. And we limited our turnovers. We took care of the ball, and which is great. And if we look at our points in the paint, 58 points in the paint, that's a recipe for success. And that's something we need to continue. We have to continue to get into the paint and score the ball. And so hats off to the Philadelphia 76ers. And Adem Bona was back. He came in and he was able to block some shots, wreak some havoc on the defensive end, get some rebounds. And that's what we need while we're dealing with different injuries. Paul George did come back, was able to knock down a couple of big shots for us. So tip my hat to Paul George. And he hasn't looked half bad this season. And so hopefully he can continue to round himself into shape. Hopefully we have the big fella Joel Embiid back soon, as well as Kelly Oubre, who we sorely miss. He does so much for us, so underrated, and I don't feel like he gets all the credit that he deserves as far as what he does for us. So happy about the Sixers. Hopefully we can continue our winning ways. And Before we go, I want to go back to the Eagles really quick. Jalen Hurts had a few words um, about what can be done to moving forward. And of course, he's always positive, always optimistic. And you need that from a leader. You need optimism, especially in a time like this when um, things aren't going well. You got an offense coordinator who's not up to snuff. And Jalen Hurts has went through this before. 2 years ago, we had an offense coordinator who wasn't getting the job done. And once again, we have an offensive coordinator this year who's not getting the job done. But let's listen to what Jalen Hurts had to say.
Yeah.
Jalen, is it a concern that it's week 13 and some of these, not being on the same page, whether it's a play like that or a penalty, that this is happening at this stage in the season?
It's not ideal. It's not something that you desire. But going off of how the flow of this year is going, it's kind of similar to my response last week and saying no of any surprises of where we are. It's just a matter of picking ourselves up and continue to press forward and stay together in it and being committed to it.
What are you seeing in the
And we're back. So as you can see, Jalen Hurts, he's staying positive, and that's what you need from your leader. Definitely need someone who's going to stay positive. And hopefully, as I said, they're having some conversations, some serious conversations behind closed doors, whether it's the players getting together, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, all the players getting together and discussing this and say, hey, if something's not working, we're going to try something different. We're going to try some of the plays from last season. I'm sure Jalen still he studied the playbook from last season. He needs to go into that bag and pull out that which made it successful. And Tank Bigsby, he's not being utilized. So that's on the coach. They need to get Tank Bigsby. He needs to be a part of this offense. All right. As you've seen with Chicago Bears, they utilized them both running backs, and it was effective. Eagles need to do the same thing. They need to utilize Tank Bigsby. As I said in the previous podcast, he needs to be utilized or getting at least 1/3 of the snaps just to switch it up. I mean, we got to get our running game going. Thanks again for joining us on the Dream Philly podcast post game. And definitely would love for you to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Peace.